The following program is an OCAmedia community-produced episode of Oregon Life, and we would like to thank our sponsor, the Oregon Brooklyn Optimist Club. We are proud to have you as a sponsor. Hello, I'm Frank Caruso, producer of Oregon Life, and welcome back. This is the fifth and final episode of The Coach. One of the observations I made behind the scenes of the caring and dedication and love that Coach Debroux and his wife Cheryl have put forth these past 40 years. Of course, I wasn't there for the 40 years, but the months that I was there is really a gift to these young people as they go forward. And if you've watched and as you see their experiences, I mean, we have people that have come back after 10, 20 years talking about their experience. He lifts people up no matter what. And he sees in you, in these young athletes, that they may not see in themselves yet. And that was really uplifting for me to see it, because I've always said throughout the most of my adult life, when you have a gift, when you have power to change the world and change people in a good way, do it. And that is the greatest gift we can give to one another. So I hope you've watched the episodes. If not, go back and look at them and enjoy this episode of Oregon Life, The Coach.
You know, it's interesting. Coach Debroux didn't run this program by himself. He had an assistant coach, unofficial, but a great assistant coach, and her name was Cheryl, who happened to be Doug's wife. And I can tell you, the first time I met Cheryl, I was hall monitor at lunch hour in the front hall, so kids couldn't run down and bother classes from the cafeteria. And this young woman came walking down the hall, and I asked her for her pass, and she indignantly said, "I'm Doug Debroux's wife, can't I go down there?" And I said, "Yes, you certainly can." So that was when I met Cheryl. And I can tell you, she's every bit as wonderful a person as Doug is. And again, she personifies team, because she was a part of that team. Those kids became their family. Cheryl did a lot of work behind the scenes, was very supportive and just very energetic and positive. And I know outside of the actual coaching time, she and Doug talked a lot about things to do, things to work on, things to fix, things to make the program better, and just lots of details she took care of. So it's important to recognize that as Doug has left coaching, Cheryl will be also. They were a great team, and I appreciate very much as an educator and a parent what they did for the students and athletes in Oregon.
Coach Debroux is just an absolute inspirational educator. He is someone who has instincts that serve him well. He gets to know his students, leverages those relationships to really hold each and every kid to high expectations. That's the same in the classroom as it is on the track or on the race course. Doug knows his kids, he cares about them. That is so clear to every single student who's ever known Doug over his 37 years in this district. And I can tell you, I have never met a colleague who also transmits that sense of caring and belonging to folks in his department and our staff as a whole. It was a great pleasure for me to be able to get to know Doug and to continue to serve kids in this community in a way that he has for so very long.
Well, here we are in Doug Debroux's old classroom. A lot of mathematics came through here. I taught with Doug for about 25 years or so. He was here when I started, and he's still here as a substitute teacher. And yeah, Doug started the AP Calculus program here at Oregon. So before Doug that didn't exist at all, and now we've got, you know, I dare to say thousands of students have taken calculus here at Oregon, and it's hard to believe that one person started this program probably about 30 years ago now. Yeah, Doug's he's one of the first people I met when I came here to Oregon, and you know, it's still a pleasure to see him quite often. You know, when a lot of people retire, they say that they'll be back, they say we'll see him, and then you never see him again. And Doug's the opposite. I feel like sometimes I see him more now, and I think a big part of it is because now that he's substitute teaching, he has the time to get out of his classroom and chat. You know, when he was teaching, he was, man, just one of the hardest working people you'd ever meet. He was always the first one in the building and always the last one to leave. If I came in on the weekend, here he was getting his lessons ready to go, and just always here, taking a pile of papers home to correct before the next day's classes, and done it all, impacted so many students here during his time in Oregon, and continues to impact them as a teacher and as a coach. But yeah, his impact as a coach and as a teacher. My son had him as a calculus teacher back in the day, and I know many students here just felt his positive impact over the years.
All right, hey, good days, bad days, okay? Hey, champs come back, all right? And like I said, a month ago, you'd have died for this, okay? Just like that, for this opportunity. So you guys come back nice, all right? Yeah, all right.
One of my favorite memories of Coach was running for him for cross, because I joined really late in the season. I ended up having to quit swim to join cross, and you know, you're not really usually able to do that, like quit a sport, join cross. It's a very tight-knit sport, but he accepted me and the team accepted me right away and made me feel so welcomed. He has always been super supportive during each workout and every meet, and made cross country feel like a real team. Running for Coach Debroux was the best decision I've ever made, and Coach Debroux and the girls are the reason I love running and going to practice. This team is the best thing I've ever been a part of, and I will really, really miss Coach Debroux, and the dynamic and legacy he has left on the team will never be forgotten. Thank you, Coach Debroux, for everything you've done for Oregon girls cross country. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so I'd love to be able to take a moment here and just simply thank Coach for all of the difference that he's made in the lives of his athletes, students, as well as the community here in Oregon as a whole. I've learned so much from him about how to become not only a better runner, but a better person as well. A few of the biggest life lessons that Coach has taught me are the following. First and foremost, there's no I in team. After all, together everyone achieves more, his favorite saying. Also, the importance of cheering on others' success is just as important as believing in your own. And most importantly, he taught me the value of dedication and perseverance in everything you do in life. When I think about the impact he left on me, even after being graduated for 10 years now, and multiply it by over the over 40 years he's been coaching, it's truly incredible to think about the impact on the number of lives that he's truly touched. So, Coach, from the bottom of my heart, I truly want to thank you for all you've done here for Oregon cross country, the students' lives and the athletes' lives that you've touched, and for the legacy that you've created.
Hello, my name is Aaron Dieter. I'm a OHS track and field athlete, and I've worked with Coach Debroux for 2 years now, and it's been a really pleasant experience with him. I've had some very disappointing races this past season, and Debroux has helped me bounce back so many times, and it's really impressive how he does it and the way he treats all of his athletes, and it's really inspiring and motivating. I really appreciate his understanding of my other time commitments, and He's very flexible, and he helps me work around different things to help me achieve my goals in several different aspects of my life. And that's just very inspirational, and I'm very glad to have worked with him for so many years.
Hi, I'm Delaney Nineheis, an athlete here at Oregon High School, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with and be coached by Coach Debroux the past couple years. Coach Debroux is truly an inspiration to all, and he will certainly leave a legacy here at Oregon High School. The legacy he leaves is not only about his accolades and he and his athletes have earned, but also the way he treats every single person he comes upon. One story in particular, I worked with Coach Debroux in track like my sophomore year and my junior year, and I knew I would want to work with him and be coached by him for another season. So I ended up joining cross country my senior year. And I don't know if you guys know much, but cross country is a very physically and mentally demanding sport. And it's great, but it's a difficult sport. And I certainly felt like both the physical and mental challenges, but it's really mentally what challenged me and challenged me the most. But having Coach Debroux always there showing his support and with his kind, uplifting demeanor, it's really what helped me push through those mental obstacles. During both track and cross country, I was able to witness Coach do what he does best, transfer his great passion of distance running onto other athletes. I mean, anyone who's ever talked to him knows he's a distance guy at heart. He's always wearing all the gear, Oregon cross country. It's just incredible to see how passionate he is about it. He finds a way to push and celebrate every athlete, always doing the little things to show how much he cares. It's an inspiration to watch him. He's truly one of a kind, and I'm so thankful to have had the opportunity to be coached by him. He more than deserves his time off, and that he can now enjoy with his wife, Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sophie Hairwire. I've been on the cross country and track team for 4 years, and Debroux has been my coach for all of my cross country and most of my track too. One story that I have about Coach Debroux is from this year, and it was at the start of the track and field season. And during the winter, I had done wrestling, which was like a new thing for me. So it was very different from what I usually did, and I hadn't been doing a lot of training for track in the winter. So we had our first meet, and I didn't do as good as I wanted to. After the 4x4, we were talking to Coach Debroux, and they were reading off our splits, and he could tell I was kind of disappointed about it. But something he said to me after that really stuck out to me when he was like, it's a hard transition, wrestling is short and fast, but track is a whole different thing, and you might not be ready now, but you're going to be ready at the end of the season when it matters. And that really spoke to me, because as much as you might be disappointed or hard on yourself, your coaches can always see that in you, and I know that Debroux is one of those people that's always seen that in me, and that he was right, that at the end of the season I had built up my strength and the transition was smoother, and I was doing as good as I always have been. Debroux during cross country always liked to get us Gatorade and chocolate milk, and sometimes granola bars and stuff. And something that was really special is when I mentioned that the white Gatorade is my favorite, and every single time after that he always made sure to set aside one for me, so nobody would take all of them and I'd still have one, or just in general make sure that that was the flavor he got. And it's something super small, but it's something that I'll always remember, because Debroux, coaches a lot of people, and it made me feel special. And I think that's like something really important as an athlete, to make sure that like you're heard and your coach like understands you.
Hi, I'm Becky Birkin, and I was an OHS cross-country runner for 4 years back in the 90s. I first met Coach Debroux. Side note, I hate running, and he knows this, so I feel like I can say it on camera. My friends were all deciding to go out for cross-country, and I thought I would join. So I think that I never would have stayed on that team for 4 years of my life if it weren't for that man. It's really hard to not get emotional about him. I feel like it's okay to get emotional because if anybody knows Coach Debroux and our 5 or 6 hour long cross-country banquets that we had, everyone cries, as does he. So I was probably an average, or if not below average runner, I would say, on my 4 years on the team. But if it weren't for that man, I wouldn't have showed up every day to practice, participated in every single meet for 4 years. He never once made you feel like you were less than any other runner on that team. And we had a pretty big team my 4 years. Back then it was boys and girls combined, so we were all together. That's a lot of kids for one human being to be responsible for. And he did it flawlessly. He was out on the field or on the, out there cheering for us, every single runner until they crossed that finish line. You didn't know if you were a good runner, you didn't know if you were a bad runner, you just felt like you were the best runner because he was your coach. And then Cheryl. Oh, my Cheryl. That woman has the patience of a saint, I think. Funny story about Cheryl. She's a Neil Diamond fan, so I don't know if any of you knew that out there. But in high school, my friend Alicia and I actually got Cheryl to take us to a Neil Diamond concert at the Kohl Center. And I think it was probably during cross-country season, and so Coach Debroux was not okay with that because we got home, at like 10 p.m., which is way too late to be going to bed for Coach Debroux. But Cheryl not only served that role very well, but she was an intricate part of the team all those 4 years. And I don't think that Coach would have been able to do any of this in his life without her. So thank you, Cheryl. Coach Debroux is one of those people who enters your life and then hopefully never leaves it. We met back up when I moved back to Oregon. I became a member of the local triathlon team here. I started off as a runner, which is weird because I did mention that I don't like running. But when combined with the other 2 modalities of a triathlon, I was glad that I had that backbone and that experience all those years running under a great leader. I met Coach back again at the Oregon pool when I was training for Ironman. All of a sudden there he was again in my life, and it was like we picked up where we never, right where we left off. And he gave me this cool shirt because I saw him out running one day with it. Tried to catch up to him and I couldn't, which was embarrassing. But I liked his shirt a lot, and so next day at the pool he had gifted me one. So that was pretty special, and I really cherish it now. Coach eventually was also in my life one other time when I was running the Burby Derby after I'd been training for a little bit, and I was having a really good race. It was a really good race that year, and I felt great, and I'm like in my prime running, and all of a sudden if anybody knows Coach Debroux, you know his shuffle when he runs. It's a very distinguished, you can hear it coming, and I heard it coming behind me on the Burby Derby trail. And I was like, no, that's not him. And it was. And then he passed me, like not even remotely slow. He like flew past me. So that was a little embarrassing, but also humbling to know that he was still out there doing what he loves, kicking my butt. But that was another fun time of Coach Debroux post cross country. So overall, I think that there's very few people, and actually, the Oregon School District will never have another educator and coach like that man. Mark my word, never. Coach Debroux, I love you. The world loves you, and thank you for being an amazing human and making it a better place.